Officer Esteban was responsible for the machine. He was a communications specialist, precise, quiet, and pedantic. He maintained the teletype with almost medical accuracy. Every morning, he checked the keys, the paper roll, the signal lines. Every day, he heard the same dry, metallic clatter. It was the mechanical heartbeat of Operation Condor, a secret network of state terror spread across 6 countries. Esteban did not think of himself as a killer. He never pulled a trigger. He never saw blood. He only transmitted messages, numbers, names, short orders. People went in. Zeros came out. He told himself he was an operator, not an ideologue, and that difference was how he managed to sleep at night. One morning, a high-priority transmission arrived from Buenos Aires. It carried a single code word, meteor. Meteor meant urgency. No discussion. No delay. The message requested object processing and included a full personal file. Esteban began decoding, as he always did. The cipher unfolded into a short, cold sentence: eliminate. Target: Ricardo Mendez. Reason: subversive activity. Esteban's fingers stopped above the keyboard. Ricardo Mendez was not just a name. He remembered old books, dusty lecture halls, and a calm, ironic smile. Mendez had been his philosophy professor at the university, the man who taught him how to doubt power and question authority. And now Esteban was expected to erase him. This was no longer political. It was personal. Mendez was the only name on the list whose fate Esteban could still influence. Remain a cog, or become human for the first time. Esteban looked at the thick protocol manual beside the teletype. The rules were clear. The meteor message had to be forwarded immediately to his superior, Major Jorge Fernandez. Any delay would be considered treason. Minutes before the major's routine inspection, Esteban made a decision. He added 4 extra symbols at the beginning of the message. On this system, those symbols meant only one thing: request for additional verification. They were rarely used, and only by people who needed time. 48 hours. Enough time to warn Mendez. It was Esteban's first act of resistance, and it contained one small professional mistake. 10 minutes later, Major Fernandez was already standing behind him. Tall, perfectly straight, with ice in his eyes, the major pointed at the screen and asked quietly, "What is this, Esteban? A system glitch?" Esteban felt cold move up his spine. He answered that it was a transmission error and that he would fix it immediately. Fernandez nodded, but did not leave. He kept watching. Then the major handed him a folder. Another assignment. A new target. Urgent. Esteban opened the folder and felt the ground shift beneath him. The photograph showed a woman, Professor Mendez's wife. The file contained only one line: backup target. The choice was gone. It was no longer between duty and one life. It was between 2 deaths, and his own. Esteban chose survival. There was no longer any alternative. Saving the professor's wife meant sending the order to kill Ricardo Mendez. His hands shook as he typed the confirmation. The keys struck the paper like nails. That message divided his life into 2 parts, before and after. A week later, Esteban sat in the bunker drinking cold coffee when the main doors opened. He heard boots and quiet, controlled voices. Watching through a half-open door, he saw a group of men escorting someone down the corridor. It was Ricardo Mendez. He looked smaller, older, exhausted. As they passed, Mendez lifted his eyes and met Esteban's gaze for a brief moment. There was no anger. No fear. Only disappointment, not in the world, but in Esteban himself. Esteban stepped back into the shadows. 3 hours later, the teletype activated again. A message arrived from the basement, from Operational Group R. Short. Clean. Emotionless. Target Mendez. Resolution achieved. Esteban felt sick. His defeat was not physical. It was moral, and it was permanent. He continued working, but the idea that their actions were necessary collapsed inside him. He needed a reason to keep breathing. So he began searching for something else, revenge. Not against the operatives, but against the system itself, and against Major Fernandez. At night, Esteban accessed the system logs. Old transmissions, internal traffic, archived teletype rolls. He searched for corruption, illegal orders, any proof that Fernandez was evil. If Fernandez was a monster, Esteban could live with what he had done. But the deeper he went, the worse the truth became. Operation Condor was not just hunting enemies. It was cleaning itself. Orders without signatures. Names replaced by numbers. Targets marked simply as inefficient or unstable. Condor was not a brotherhood. It was a bureaucracy, a machine designed to survive by constantly removing parts of itself. Buried deep in encrypted correspondence with Paraguay, Esteban found a warning. 3 symbols. When decoded, they meant, potential internal risk. Next to them was a name, Jorge Fernandez, Major. Esteban stopped breathing. The system was already preparing to eliminate his own superior. That same evening, Fernandez called him into his office and smiled. He praised Esteban's loyalty and offered a promotion, a transfer to Buenos Aires, to a new communications unit, far from unwanted attention. Esteban understood immediately. This was not a reward. It was an exit. If he left, he would disappear. If he stayed, he would disappear. The machine was closing in. At his lowest point, Esteban finally understood something. The teletype was not just his prison. It was his weapon. He remembered something Professor Mendez once told him: don't die on the battlefield. Die in their paperwork. Esteban stopped thinking about killing Fernandez. Instead, he decided to expose Condor itself. Over 3 sleepless nights, he used maintenance access to hide massive data transfers inside routine technical traffic. First, he sent a short encrypted warning to Buenos Aires, 1 word, run. Then he executed the final act. A complete archive. Every teletype message. Names, dates, kill orders, internal files, including Fernandez. Byte by byte, he sent it through a channel secretly routed to a European embassy. He encrypted the data using an outdated cipher only he knew. Not information, but proof. When the transfer finished, Esteban shut down the teletype. He removed his uniform and left it on the chair. Then he walked out into the morning fog of Santiago. 4 hours later, Major Fernandez discovered the empty station and the system anomaly. It was too late. In the embassy, another teletype began to clatter. 6 countries. Thousands of names. A hidden war exposed. Esteban disappeared, another desaparecido. He did not destroy Operation Condor. He simply revealed how it worked. And sometimes, that is enough to change history. The coordination center was located in Santiago. From this place, people were killed using an ordinary teletype machine. It was an old, heavy device hidden inside a windowless bunker. Messages passed through it in only one direction. They never came back. Anything typed here disappeared into silence.